my chosen one. Something happened while you were asleep, something so powerful, so precise, that if your eyes had been open, it would have shaken you to your core. But they were not meant to be open, because what took place was not for your fear, it was for your protection. On the night leading into July 13th, while your body rested and your mind drifted into silence, a battle began in a realm you cannot see. It did not make a sound. No door creaked. No shadow moved across your walls. And yet, the atmosphere around you shifted in a way only heaven could recognize. Forces you cannot comprehend drew near, not to bless, but to disturb, to plant unrest, to quietly invade the peace that was given to you by God. But they did not succeed, because before anything could touch you, before even a whisper of darkness could reach your spirit, a divine presence stepped forward. Archangel Michael himself stood guard over you, not as a symbol, not as a distant protector, but as a warrior, fully present, fully aware, and fully engaged in a battle that had your name written on it. You did not hear the command he gave. You did not see the moment his sword was raised. But it happened, and in that moment, everything changed. What was meant to disturb you was silenced. What was sent to weaken you was turned away. What came with intention to enter your life was stopped at a boundary it could not cross. And you continued to sleep peacefully, unaware that heaven was fighting to preserve that very peace. This was not coincidence. This was not imagination. This was a divine intervention so precise that it left no trace, except one. You woke up still whole, still calm, still protected. And now, this message is reaching you for a reason. Because July 13th is not just another day. It marks a revelation, a moment where what was hidden is now being brought into light. You are being shown, not to frighten you, but to awaken something within you. A realization that you are not alone, not even for a second. That even in your most vulnerable state, when you are completely unaware, there is a force assigned to you that does not sleep, does not hesitate, and does not fail. Ask yourself, how many nights have you rested without knowing what was prevented? How many times have you woken up thinking nothing happened, when in truth, everything could have? This is only the beginning of what you are about to uncover. Because what Archangel Michael did that night was not ordinary, and what it reveals about your life will change the way you see every moment from this day forward. The truth is closer than you think, and what was hidden is now ready to be revealed. Beloved soul, what you must understand now goes beyond what the human mind easily accepts. There is a war that does not announce itself with noise, yet it is constant. It does not wait for your permission, and it does not pause when you feel safe. This silent war exists in a realm just beyond your physical senses, where intentions move faster than thoughts and where spiritual forces collide without ever being seen. And whether you realize it or not, you have been standing at the center of it. On the night before July 13th, the atmosphere around you was not empty. It was charged. There were movements, calculated, quiet, and deliberate. These were not random occurrences. There were forces that had studied your patterns, your weaknesses, your moments of exhaustion. They waited for a window, a small opening when your guard would naturally be down. Sleep, as peaceful as it feels, is often the moment when the soul becomes most vulnerable, and that is when they attempted to draw near. But here is what they did not anticipate. Your life is not unguarded. Archangel Michael was already present before their approach even began. This is what makes this revelation so profound. You were not protected as a reaction. You were protected in advance. Before a single shadow could stretch toward you, before a single negative force could position itself, there was already a divine authority standing in place, watching, discerning, and preparing. The truth is, these invisible battles are not chaotic. They are strategic. Just as darkness operates with intention, heaven responds with precision. Every movement is known. Every attempt is seen. And on that night, as unseen forces tried to test the boundaries around your life, they were met with resistance that they could not overcome. Imagine a line that cannot be crossed, a barrier that does not break, no matter how much pressure is applied. That is what surrounded you. It was not something you could touch or see, but it was stronger than anything that tried to come against you. And standing at the center of that defense was Archangel Michael, not alone, but commanding a presence that carried the authority of God Himself. There are moments when darkness believes it has found the perfect opportunity. It calculates timing. It studies behavior. It waits for silence. But what it fails to understand is that divine protection does not rely on your awareness. It is not dependent on whether you are awake or alert. It is assigned, constant, and unwavering. At night, while you were completely still, heaven was in motion. There was a confrontation, swift, decisive, and undeniable. What came near you was not allowed to linger. What attempted to stay was forced to retreat. And what had intention to disrupt your peace was dismantled before it could even take form. This is why you woke up without fear. This is why your spirit did not carry the weight of what could have been. Because the battle never reached you. It was stopped before it ever had the chance. And yet, this raises a deeper truth that you are now being called to understand. If such protection was necessary, then it means your life holds a value that cannot be ignored. It means there is something about you that the unseen world recognizes, even when you do not. You were not chosen for struggle. You were chosen for preservation. And the more you begin to understand this, the more you will realize that your peace is not fragile. It is fiercely defended. What happened that night was only one moment in a much larger reality. And what is about to be revealed next will show you just how close that moment truly was. Precious one, what you are about to hear is not easy to grasp, but it is necessary for you to understand the depth of what was prevented. Because the night before July 13th was not just another moment of quiet protection. It was a direct confrontation with something that had a clear assignment against you. There was a specific attack planned. Not random. Not vague. It was targeted with precision, designed to reach into your peace and disturb it at its core. This was not about physical harm, but something far more subtle and dangerous. A disruption of your spirit, a planting of unease, a shift that would slowly begin to affect your thoughts, your emotions, and your direction. These are the kinds of attacks that go unnoticed at first, yet grow stronger over time if they are not stopped. And on that night, it came closer than it ever had before. The atmosphere around you began to tighten in a way that cannot be explained in human terms. There was a pressure forming, a silent push attempting to cross into your space. If it had succeeded, you would have woken up feeling different, heavier, restless, uncertain without knowing why. Your peace would have been disturbed, not in a loud way, but in a quiet, creeping manner that lingers throughout the day. But just as that moment approached its peak, everything shifted. Archangel Michael stepped forward with a force that cannot be resisted. This was not a gentle presence. It was authority in its purest form. The kind of authority that does not argue, does not delay, and does not negotiate. The moment that force attempted to enter your space, it was met with a command that carried divine power. And instantly, the movement stopped. What tried to advance was pushed back. What tried to remain was removed. There was no struggle that lasted, no battle that dragged on. It was immediate, decisive, final. This is what you did not see. You did not see how close it came. You did not see how quickly it was turned away. You did not feel the impact because it never reached you. And that is the most powerful part of this revelation. Your peace was preserved so completely that you were never even aware it was under threat. Think about that for a moment. There was something assigned to disrupt you, something that had waited, watched, and chosen its moment carefully. And yet, it failed entirely. Not because it was weak, but because the protection over your life is stronger than anything that comes against it. Archangel Michael did not hesitate. There was no delay, no second thought. Because when it comes to you, there is a level of urgency in heaven that you are only now beginning to understand. Your peace is not optional. It is guarded with intention. And now, you are being shown this not to create fear, but to awaken awareness. Because if something this specific was sent against you, and yet could not succeed, then you must begin to see yourself differently. You must begin to understand that your life is not ordinary, your spirit is not unprotected, and your journey is not left to chance. There is a covering over you that does not break. There is a defense around you that does not weaken. And there is a presence assigned to you that does not fail. This is why you are still standing in peace. This is why your mind was not disturbed. This is why your spirit remains steady even now. Because what came against you was stopped before it could ever reach you. And as you receive this truth, something within you is beginning to shift. A deeper awareness, a stronger sense of protection, a quiet confidence that you are not as exposed as you once thought. So if this message is speaking directly to your spirit, if you feel the weight of this truth settling within you, then this is your moment to respond. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 931 has just been released over your life. And as this revelation settles into your heart, there is something even deeper unfolding. Something that explains why this attack was allowed to come so close in the first place and why you were never meant to fall from it. Chosen one, the question now rises within you, quietly but persistently. Why you? Why would such a targeted attack even be assigned to your life? Why would unseen forces invest time, strategy, and intention just to disturb your peace? This is where the truth begins to deepen, and where your understanding must shift from fear to revelation. You were not randomly chosen. You were marked long before this moment, not by darkness, but by divine purpose. There is something within you that carries light, even if you have not fully recognized it yet. It is in the way you endure, in the way you continue despite challenges, in the way your spirit refuses to break even when circumstances try to bend you. That light is not ordinary. It is noticed in realms you cannot see, and it carries a weight that makes you significant in ways you may have never considered. Darkness does not pursue what is empty. It does not waste effort on what has no value. It studies, it observes, and it targets what holds potential. And you, whether you have accepted it or not, carry a purpose that disrupts what darkness tries to establish. This is why the attack was not random. It was intentional. There is a calling over your life that is still unfolding. You may feel it as a quiet pull, a sense that you are meant for something more, something meaningful, something that goes beyond the ordinary patterns of life. That feeling is not your imagination. It is a reflection of what has already been placed within you. And that is exactly what makes you a target. Because when a life begins to move toward purpose, resistance often appears. Not to destroy you completely, but to distract you, to weaken your focus, to plant doubt so subtle that it feels like your own thoughts. If that attack on the night before July 13th had succeeded, it would not have been obvious. It would have been quiet, gradual, a slow shift away from clarity and into confusion. But that plan failed, and it failed because your purpose is protected. Archangel Michael did not step in randomly. His presence was not accidental. He was there because there is an assignment over your life that must be preserved. Heaven does not intervene without reason. It responds where there is value, where there is calling, where there is something that must not be interrupted. You are part of something greater than what you see right now. Even in moments when you feel uncertain, when you question your direction, when you wonder if you are truly making a difference, there is a higher perspective that sees you clearly. A perspective that understands your path, your growth, and your importance in ways that your human mind cannot fully grasp yet. This is why your peace was defended so fiercely. Because your peace is not just for you. It is necessary for what you are becoming. If your mind is clouded, your direction becomes unclear. If your spirit is disturbed, your strength begins to weaken. And if your focus is broken, your purpose can feel distant. The attack was designed to create that chain reaction. But it never reached you because it was stopped at the source. Now, as you hear this, something inside you may begin to awaken. A realization that you are not as ordinary as you once believed. That your life carries weight, meaning, and intention beyond what you have seen so far. And this is where your awareness begins to shift. You are not just someone moving through life randomly. You are someone being guided, protected, and positioned. There is a reason you are still standing. There is a reason your peace remains intact. There is a reason this message has found you now. Because you are being prepared, not for fear but for understanding. Not for struggle but for clarity. Not for confusion, but for alignment with what you were always meant to walk in. And as this truth settles into you, the next revelation will take you even deeper into the authority that stands behind your protection and the power that ensures nothing assigned against you will ever have the final say. Faithful one, now you are being drawn deeper into a truth that many hear about, but few truly understand, the authority behind your protection. It is one thing to know that you are guarded, but it is another to understand the power that stands behind that protection. Because what shielded you on the night before July 13th was not just presence, it was command, it was rank, it was divine authority operating without limitation. Archangel Michael is not simply a symbol of protection. He is a warrior appointed by God, entrusted with responsibility that extends far beyond human comprehension. His authority is not borrowed. It is assigned directly from the throne of heaven. And when he moves, he does not act with uncertainty. He acts with precision, clarity, and a force that does not waver. On that night, when the unseen forces attempted to approach you, they were not just met with resistance. They were confronted with authority that they recognized immediately. This is something many do not realize. Darkness understands hierarchy. It knows power when it encounters it. It knows when it has reached a boundary it cannot cross. And that is exactly what happened. The moment Archangel Michael stood in defense of your peace, the atmosphere shifted completely. What once carried intention to disturb was suddenly faced with a presence that carried absolute command. No negotiation, no testing, no lingering attempt. Because when divine authority speaks, everything else must respond. This is why the confrontation was so swift. It did not stretch into a long battle, because it did not need to. Authority does not struggle. It establishes. It declares what is allowed and what is not. And in that moment, it was made clear that nothing assigned against you had permission to enter your space. This is the level of protection over your life. It is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is backed by a power that does not weaken, does not tire, and does not overlook even the smallest detail. While you were resting, unaware of everything happening around you, there was a command being enforced over your life. You will remain in peace. And that command was upheld without compromise. Many people believe protection only comes when they ask for it, when they pray for it, or when they are consciously aware of danger. But what you experienced goes beyond that. This was protection that operated without your request. It was already in place. It was already active. This is what makes your situation different. You are not being guarded occasionally. You are being watched continuously. There is an awareness over your life that does not turn off, even when you do. There is a presence that remains alert, even when you are completely still. And this is not something given lightly. Divine authority is not assigned without purpose. It is not placed over a life that carries no direction. It is not activated for something that holds no value. The fact that Archangel Michael himself intervened with such precision reveals something critical. You are under a level of protection that matches the importance of your path. That means there is something ahead of you that must be preserved. Something that cannot be interrupted. Something that requires you to remain steady, clear, and at peace. This is why the attack was not allowed to succeed. Because if it had, it would have created a disruption that could affect more than just a single moment. It could have shifted your direction, delayed your progress, or clouded your ability to move forward with clarity. But that possibility was removed before it could even begin. Now, as you begin to understand this authority, something within you should start to change. Not fear, but confidence. Not uncertainty, but assurance. You are not standing alone in your life. You are not exposed to everything that tries to come against you. You are covered by a force that does not fail. And the more you recognize this, the more your perspective will shift from questioning your safety to trusting it. Because what stands behind you is greater than anything that stands against you. And what you are about to uncover next will reveal something even more personal. Signs that were already appearing in your life, moments you may have overlooked, that were actually evidence that this protection has been surrounding you for far longer than you realized. Beloved, as this truth continues to unfold, you are now being gently led to look back, not with fear, but with awareness. Because what happened on the night before July 13th was not the first time you were protected. It was simply one of the clearest moments. There have been signs, subtle and quiet, scattered throughout your life, moments that felt small at the time, yet carried something deeper that you may not have recognized. These were not coincidences. They were traces of divine intervention. Think about the times when you felt a sudden sense of calm without explanation. Moments when your thoughts were racing, yet something within you softened everything at once. You could not explain it. You could not trace it, but it was real. That was not just your mind settling. That was peace, being restored before disturbance could take hold. Or consider the dreams you may have had. Not all of them, but the ones that felt different. The ones that stayed with you after you woke up. The ones that carried a strange clarity or a quiet warning, even if you could not fully understand them. Those moments were not random images created by your mind. They were glimpses, small windows where your spirit was more open, where protection was not only active, but communicating in ways beyond words. There may have also been times when something did not happen, and you did not question it. Plans that suddenly changed. Situations that fell apart at the last moment. Encounters that never took place, even though they seemed certain. At the time, It may have felt like inconvenience or confusion. But now, as you reflect, you may begin to see it differently. What if those moments were interruptions for your protection? What if what did not happen was just as important as what did? This is how divine protection often works. It does not always announce itself with clear signs or visible actions. Sometimes, it moves quietly, adjusting paths, redirecting outcomes, closing doors that seem open, and opening ones you did not expect. And because it happens so seamlessly, it is easy to overlook. But now, you are being asked to notice. Because the same presence that stood guard over you that night has been with you far longer than you realize. Archangel Michael's protection did not begin on July 13th. It simply revealed itself in a way that you are now able to understand. Here is a pattern in your life. A pattern of preservation. Moments where things could have gone wrong, but did not. Times where you should have felt overwhelmed, but somehow remained steady. Situations that could have led to confusion, yet you found clarity instead. These are not accidents. They are evidence. Evidence that you have been guided, shielded, and watched over with intention. And the reason you are only now beginning to see this clearly is because your awareness is expanding. You are stepping into a deeper understanding of how your life is being handled, not just on the surface, but beneath it. This awareness is important, because once you begin to recognize these signs, something shifts within you. You stop seeing life as random, and you begin to see it as directed. You stop questioning every unexpected turn, and you begin to trust that even what you do not understand is working in your favor. That does not mean everything will always feel easy. It does not mean there will never be moments of uncertainty. But it does mean this: you are not moving through those moments alone. There is a presence that sees what you cannot. There is a protection that acts before you even realize you need it. And there is a guidance that is constantly shaping your path, even in ways that seem invisible. The night before July 13th was a powerful example of this, but it was not the only one. It was a reminder. A moment where what has always been happening was brought into focus. And now, as you carry this awareness forward, you are being prepared to understand something even more powerful, the exact moment when heaven intervened in a way that changed everything, not just for that night, but for what lies ahead of you. Because what happened in that moment was not just protection. It was positioning. Steady heart. What you are about to understand now is the exact turning point, the moment when everything shifted, when heaven did not just observe but stepped in with unmistakable precision. This was not a gradual unfolding. It was a defining instant, a line drawn so clearly that nothing beyond it could proceed. On the night before July 13th, there was a moment when the pressure reached its highest point. The unseen movement around you had gathered enough force to attempt entry. It was subtle but intentional. The kind of moment where, if nothing intervened, something would have crossed into your peace. Not loudly, not dramatically, but enough to leave a mark that would follow you into the next day and beyond. But that moment never completed itself. Because just as that pressure reached its peak, heaven responded. There was no delay, no hesitation, no uncertainty. Archangel Michael moved with authority that did not need to announce itself. His presence alone shifted the entire atmosphere. What was forming began to break apart before it could fully take shape. What was advancing was suddenly halted, as if it had encountered something immovable. This is the moment that changed everything. It was not visible to your eyes, but it was absolute in its effect. The line that surrounded you became undeniable. Not a suggestion, not a warning, but a command that could not be ignored. And in that instant, what had been building lost its ability to continue. There are moments in life when timing is everything. Moments where a single second determines the direction of what follows. This was one of those moments. If intervention had come even slightly later, the outcome might have been different. But it did not come late. It came exactly when it was needed. This is what divine precision looks like. Archangel Michael did not arrive randomly. He was already positioned, already aware, already prepared for the exact second when action would be required. And when that second came, there was no struggle, only enforcement. What tried to reach you was stopped completely. What tried to remain was removed entirely. And what carried intention against you was forced to retreat without leaving any trace behind. You did not feel this happen. Your body remained at rest. Your breathing stayed calm. Your mind remained undisturbed. But in the unseen realm, everything had shifted in your favor. This is why you woke up the way you did. Without heaviness, without confusion, without any sense that something had just tried to interrupt your peace. Because the moment of intervention was so complete, so final, that it erased the possibility of any effect reaching you. This is not just protection. This is restoration before disruption. And there is something deeply personal in this moment that you must understand. This was not a general act. It was not a broad defense applied to many, without distinction. This was specific, intentional, directed at you. Heaven knew the exact moment you needed to be covered. Heaven recognized the exact point where intervention was required. And heaven acted without hesitation. This is the level of attention over your life. You are not overlooked. You are not left to navigate unseen dangers on your own. There is an awareness surrounding you that is active, responsive, and precise beyond anything you can measure. And as you take this in, something within you begins to settle into a deeper understanding. Not just that you are protected, but that your life is being handled with care, with timing, and with purpose. The moment heaven stepped in was not just about stopping something negative. It was about ensuring that your path remains clear, that your spirit remains steady, that nothing interferes with where you are meant to go, because there is still more ahead, and what you are walking into cannot be delayed by what tried to stop you. And now, as this truth anchors itself within you, the next revelation will bring you even greater assurance. It will show you that what surrounded you that night has not left. It has not faded. It is still with you now, strong, active, and unshaken. Beloved soul, even now, as you sit with this revelation, something powerful remains true. What surrounded you that night has not disappeared. It has not withdrawn. It has not faded into distance. The same protection that stood firm before July 13th is still present around you at this very moment, steady and unshaken. This is not a temporary covering. It is not something that comes and goes depending on circumstances. It is constant. It is active. It is aware. Archangel Michael's presence is not limited to a single event. What you experienced was a glimpse, a rare moment where the unseen became known to you. But the reality is that protection continues far beyond that night. It continues into your mornings, into your decisions, into the quiet moments when you feel alone, and even into the moments when you are unaware of anything happening around you. You are still being guarded. There is a spiritual boundary around your life that remains intact. It does not weaken with time. It does not crack under pressure. It does not shift based on your emotions or your circumstances. It is established with authority, and it remains exactly where it was set. Think about that. As you move through your day, as you interact with people, as you step into different environments, there is something with you that cannot be seen, yet cannot be removed. A presence that observes, discerns, and ensures that nothing crosses into your life without permission. This means you are not as vulnerable as you may sometimes feel. Even in moments when uncertainty tries to rise, even when situations seem unclear or overwhelming, there is a deeper truth holding everything steady. You are not navigating this life unprotected. You are not exposed to every force that attempts to influence you. There is a covering over you that remains active. And the reason this is being revealed to you now is because your awareness must match your reality. You cannot continue to move through life thinking you are unguarded when, in truth, you are surrounded by divine protection. This awareness changes everything. It changes how you respond to fear. It changes how you face uncertainty. It changes how you view the challenges in front of you. Because once you understand that there is a force actively ensuring your peace, you begin to walk differently. Not with hesitation, but with quiet confidence. Not with constant worry, but with a sense of assurance that you are being held in ways you cannot fully see. Archangel Michael is not distant from you. His presence is not symbolic. It is real. It is active, and it is positioned with purpose. Even now, there are things being prevented that you are not aware of. There are paths being redirected. There are moments being adjusted. There are outcomes being shaped in ways that protect your peace before disruption can even begin. This is happening continuously. And as this truth settles into your spirit, something within you is being strengthened. A deeper sense of calm, a clearer understanding that you are not alone, a quiet realization that your life is being watched over with intention. This is where your fear begins to lose its hold, because fear thrives in the belief that you are unprotected. It grows when you feel exposed, when you think you must handle everything on your own. But that belief is no longer yours to carry. You now know the truth. You are surrounded. You are covered. You are guarded by a presence that does not fail. So if this message has reached into your spirit, if you feel this truth anchoring itself within you, then this is your moment to respond in alignment with what has been revealed. Type "I walk in divine protection" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1188 is now activated over your life. And as you stand in this awareness, something even deeper is about to unfold, an understanding of the limits placed on darkness itself, and why no matter how closely it watches, it will never be able to touch what has been sealed for your peace. And as this revelation flows, for those who feel stirred in their spirit to become part of something greater, listen closely. The same way your peace was protected in silence, there are countless souls who are still waiting to receive this light, still searching for clarity in their own unseen battles. When you choose to give, you are not just offering support. You are planting seeds into lives that are ready to be awakened. Just as it is written, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." This is not a distant promise. It is a living word speaking directly into your moment. If you feel it within you, say it now. I am a vessel of light, and I choose to release what God has placed in my hands. This is your moment to act. Not later, not someday, but now. Every seed you release becomes a harvest in someone else's life, a message reaching the one who almost gave up. Your giving is not small. It is seen, it is multiplied, and it is blessed. As you sow, may your life overflow with peace, clarity, and divine increase. Step into this moment of obedience. Use the PayPal link in the description or the QR code before you. Act now. Chosen one, now that your eyes are opening to the protection that surrounds you, there is another truth you must face, not with fear, but with clarity. The shadows you cannot see, they are aware of you. They observe, They wait, and they attempt to understand your movements. But here's what changes everything. They are limited. They can watch, but they cannot cross. They can study, but they cannot touch. They can approach, but they cannot enter. This is the boundary that was established around you, not just on the night before July 13th, but long before that moment ever arrived. And once you truly understand this, something powerful begins to shift inside you. The fear of the unknown starts to dissolve, replaced by a deeper confidence in what you now know to be true. Darkness has limits. It is not all-powerful. It is not unstoppable. It is not free to move wherever it desires. There are lines it cannot cross, commands it cannot override, and authority it cannot challenge. And when it encountered the presence of Archangel Michael, it was reminded of exactly where those limits stand. That is why the attack failed. Not because it did not try, but because it was not allowed. This is the truth that changes how you see everything moving forward. You are not in a position of weakness. You are not someone constantly at risk, hoping nothing goes wrong. You are standing within a boundary that has already been secured. Even now, there may be moments when you feel watched, when situations feel uncertain, when something seems slightly off and you cannot explain why. But instead of allowing fear to take root, you must remember this. Awareness does not equal danger. Just because something observes does not mean it has access. Just because something approaches does not mean it can reach you. This is where many people lose their peace. They sense something they do not understand, and their mind begins to imagine the worst. But you are not being called into fear. You are being called into understanding. The shadows may be aware of your presence, but they are also aware of your protection. They recognize the authority that stands around you. They see the boundary that cannot be broken, and because of that, they remain at a distance they cannot cross. This is why your peace continues. This is why your spirit remains steady. This is why, even when things feel uncertain, you are not overwhelmed. Because what could have reached you has been stopped. And now, this does not mean there will never be attempts again. It does not mean there will never be moments where pressure tries to build or where situations feel unclear. But it does mean this: nothing will ever be allowed to override what has been established over your life. You are not unguarded. You are not exposed. You are not left to defend yourself. There is already a defense in place. And once you begin to fully accept this, you stop reacting to every small shift around you. You stop giving attention to what has no power. You stop allowing your thoughts to be shaped by fear of something that cannot even reach you. Instead, you begin to stand differently, with calmness, with assurance, with a quiet strength that does not need to prove itself. Because you know what surrounds you. You know what stands behind you. You know what has already been established on your behalf. This is the awareness that brings freedom. Not freedom from life's challenges, but freedom from the fear that those challenges will overtake you. Because they will not. They cannot. Not while you are covered in the way that you are. And as you continue forward, carrying this understanding, the next truth will anchor itself even deeper within you. It will show you something you may have never fully considered, that the peace you have been experiencing is not random, not temporary, and not fragile. It has been intentionally placed over your life, and it is being guarded with purpose. Beloved, there is something you must now fully receive, not as an idea, but as truth settling deep within your spirit. The peace you have been experiencing is not accidental. It is not something that just happens when circumstances are calm. It is not dependent on everything around you going perfectly. Your peace has been intentionally placed over your life, and more importantly, it is being actively guarded. This changes everything. Because many people believe peace comes and goes. They think it depends on situations, on outcomes, on whether life feels stable or uncertain. But what you are being shown now is something far greater. Your peace exists even when situations try to shift. It remains even when life feels unclear. It holds steady, not because nothing is happening, but because something is protecting it. On the night before July 13th, this truth became undeniable. What attempted to reach you was specifically designed to disturb your peace. Not to create immediate chaos, but to plant something subtle. Restlessness, doubt, unease. The kind of disturbance that slowly grows if it is not stopped. And yet none of it reached you. None of it took root. None of it stayed. Why? Because your peace was already under protection. It was not left exposed. It was not something fragile that could be easily shaken. It was guarded with intention, preserved with precision, and defended with authority. And this is what you must begin to understand. Your peace is not weak. It is one of the most protected aspects of your life. Think about the times when you should have felt overwhelmed, but did not. Moments when situations were uncertain, yet something within you remained steady. Times when pressure was present, but your spirit did not collapse under it. That was not just your strength. That was your peace being sustained. Because true peace does not come from the absence of trouble. It comes from the presence of protection. This is why, even now, you are able to receive this message with clarity. Your mind is not clouded. Your spirit is not weighed down. There is a calmness within you that allows you to understand what is being revealed. That calmness is not random. It is maintained. And it is maintained for a reason. Because your peace is connected to your direction. When your mind is clear, you make better decisions. When your spirit is steady, you move with confidence. When your heart is at rest, you are able to recognize what is right for you and what is not. If your peace were constantly disturbed, your path would become unclear. Your focus would weaken. Your ability to move forward would be affected. And that is exactly what the unseen attack was trying to accomplish. But it failed. Because your peace was never left unguarded. Now, as you begin to fully accept this, something important begins to happen. You stop chasing peace as if it is something distant. You stop thinking you need to find it somewhere outside of yourself. Instead, you begin to realize it is already within you, and it is already being protected. This realization changes how you move through life. You begin to trust the calmness within you. You begin to rely on the steadiness you feel, even when situations around you are uncertain. You begin to understand that your peace is not something that can be easily taken. It is something that is actively preserved. And this brings a new level of confidence into your life. Not loud confidence, not forced strength, but a quiet assurance that no matter what happens around you, there is something within you that will remain untouched. Because it is being guarded. This is what heaven ensured on that night. Not just your safety, but your peace. And that same protection continues even now. As you carry this understanding forward, the next truth will bring everything together in a way that feels deeply personal. It will reveal why this message has reached you at this exact moment, and what you are being called to recognize about yourself right now. Because this is not just about what happened. It is about what you are meant to see. Beloved one, this moment is not SLHAIKAKI. This message has reached you with intention, at a time that was carefully aligned with your awareness. You were meant to hear this now, not before. not later. Because everything that has been revealed to you is leading to one deeply personal truth. You are being awakened to who you truly are under divine protection. This is not just about a single night. It is not only about what happened before July 13th. It is about what that moment represents in your life right now. It is a signal, a confirmation, a quiet but powerful reminder that you are not walking blindly. You are being guided, watched over, and positioned with purpose. There are times in life when you begin to question things. You wonder if you are on the right path. You ask yourself if your efforts matter, if your direction is clear, if what you feel inside you is real. These questions do not come from weakness, they come from growth. They come from a place where something within you is beginning to stretch beyond what you have known. And this message meets you right there, because what you experienced, even without knowing it, is confirmation that your path is not unnoticed. Heaven is aware of you, not in a distant, general way, but in a precise and personal way. Your life is being observed with care. Your steps are being watched. Your direction is being considered. This is why intervention took place, not just to protect you from something negative, but to ensure that nothing interferes with what you are becoming. There is something unfolding in your life that requires clarity, strength, and peace. And because of that, there are moments where heaven will step in to make sure your path remains aligned. And now, you are being asked to recognize something important. This is your moment of awareness. You are no longer in a place where you can ignore the signs. You are no longer in a position where you can dismiss what you feel within you. Because what has been revealed is too specific, too intentional, too precise to be overlooked. This is where your perspective begins to shift. Instead of questioning whether you are protected, you begin to trust that you are. Instead of wondering if your life has direction, you begin to see that it does. Instead of feeling uncertain about your path, you begin to recognize that it is being guided. This does not mean everything will suddenly become clear all at once. It does not mean every question will be answered immediately. But it does mean this: you are not moving without purpose. There is a direction ahead of you that is being prepared. There are moments waiting for you that will make sense of what you are experiencing now. There is a clarity that is coming, one step at a time. And what happened on the night before July 13th was part of that preparation. It was a moment where protection ensured that nothing would disrupt what is being built within you. Because what is being built is important. It is not small. It is not temporary. It is something that carries weight, something that will impact not just you, but others connected to your life. This is why you are being guided so carefully. This is why your peace is being guarded so intentionally. This is why this message has reached you now. You are stepping into a deeper awareness of your life. An awareness that allows you to move with more confidence, more trust, and more understanding of what is happening around you. And as you stand in this awareness, something within you begins to settle. Not confusion, but clarity. Not fear, but assurance. Not doubt, but quiet certainty. You begin to realize that you are not here by accident. You are not experiencing these things randomly. You are part of something that is unfolding with purpose. And now, you are ready to receive the final truth, the one that will bring everything into peace, into rest, and into a place where you no longer feel the need to question what surrounds you. Because what surrounds you is stronger than anything that ever tried to come against you. My beloved, as this revelation now comes to its gentle close, allow your spirit to settle into the truth that has been unfolding before you. There is nothing in your life that has been left unattended. There is no moment where you have been unguarded. And there is no night where you have truly been alone. What happened before July 13th was not meant to disturb you. It was meant to awaken you. Not into fear, but into peace. Not into worry, but into trust. Because now you know something that many never fully realize. Even in your most vulnerable moments, when your eyes are closed and your awareness is quiet, heaven is still active on your behalf. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder of this truth, not as a distant figure, but as a living presence assigned with purpose. A protector who does not sleep when you sleep. A guardian who does not step away when you are unaware. A warrior who ensures that what God has placed within you remains untouched by anything that does not belong. So now, you are invited into something deeper than understanding. You are invited into rest. Not the kind of rest that depends on everything around you being perfect, but the kind of rest that comes from knowing you are covered. Fully, completely, without condition. Let your heart release the need to stay on alert. Let your mind release the weight of trying to control everything. Let your spirit breathe in the quiet assurance that you are being held. Because you are. There is a peace over your life that has already been established. It does not need to be forced. It does not need to be chased. It is already yours. And it is being protected with a level of care that you are only now beginning to understand. So tonight, when you close your eyes, do it differently. Not with uncertainty, but with confidence. Not with hesitation, but with trust. Not wondering what might happen, but knowing what is already in place. You are guarded. You are watched over. You are safe in ways that go beyond what you can see. And as you rest, heaven remains awake. As you become still, divine protection remains active. As you surrender the day, a presence stands firm through the night. This is your truth now. This is what you carry forward. This is what allows you to live without fear, to move without doubt, and to rest without disturbance. So receive it fully. Let it settle deep within you. And allow yourself to finally exhale knowing that everything around you is being handled. If this message has reached your spirit, if you feel the peace of this truth settling within you, then respond now. Type "I rest in divine protection" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 4444 is now sealed over your life. And now, as this sacred moment gently closes, hear this calling in your spirit. There are souls right now, just like you once were, lying awake in silent battles, searching for peace they cannot explain. The same way heaven moved for you, this message is being used to reach them, but it must be carried further. Scripture declares, "The generous soul shall be made rich, and he who waters will also be watered himself." This is not just a verse. It is God speaking life into your obedience right now. If you feel this stirring within you, say it with faith. "Lord, I release what you have given me to expand your light." This is not a donation. It is a seed into the unseen harvest of soul. Every act of giving becomes a channel through which peace, protection, and truth flows into someone else's life. As you sow, may heaven multiply it back into your life with overflowing peace, favor, and divine covering. Step into this sacred act now. Use the PayPal link in the description or the QR code before you. Obey the calling,